In this lecture, we will start using dimensions to define sketches. Assuming we want to sketch a rectangle that looks like and have the following dimensions: 6 inches in one side and 4 inches in the other. Before doing anything, note that the dimensions provided are in inches, and so we have to make sure our document is set to inches as well. We look at the bottom and see that the document is already set to inches, and so we will just leave it like that. We have already covered how to sketch a rectangle, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Select a plane, go to sketch mode, click in rectangle, and draw a rectangle. For now, do not concern yourself too much with how big the rectangle is, because that's what we're doing in this lecture. Now let's go ahead and start dimensioning this rectangle. On the top left, you see a command that says Smart Dimension. Go ahead and click on it. Again, when you are back in the canvas, you will note the shape of the cursor. Now we want this side to be 4 inches, per the drawing we have. Using this command is very easy. We'll just go to this side and click on it. And then we get this indication telling us we are measuring that side. We click again and we'll get a window. We want the side to be 4 inches, so we'll go ahead and type 4 and click OK. Now we'll do that to the other side. We want the other side to be 6 inches, so we'll go to the other side, click. Again, we get the same indication. We click again, we get a window, we type in 6 and click OK. And now we have already dimensioned our rectangle to have 6 inches in one side and 4 inches in the other. Let's go ahead and draw another rectangle. So again, we go to rectangle and then we click on the origin, we move the mouse. Let's say we want our rectangle to look like this and click again. We don't really want to draw more rectangles, so I'm gonna press Escape on the keyboard. Now let's stop here for a second. Note that the new rectangle we have has blue sides and 3 blue dots, while the old rectangle is all black. The difference is dimensions or sides or anything that is black indicate something that is fully defined, while things that are blue indicate sides that are not defined. So if I click on this point here, so click and hold and start moving it, you'll note that I can move the rectangle and reshape it. If I do that in the other side, you will notice that the rectangle is not moving. This rectangle here is fully defined, while the other rectangle is underdefined. As starters, we always want to have our sketches to be fully defined. So let's go ahead and dimension the other rectangle. Go to Smart Dimension, click on this side, click again, type 6, click OK, click on the other side, click again, type 4, click OK, and now we have 2 fully defined rectangles. There are 2 ways to know whether your sketch is fully defined or not. First is to note the color of the sketch. If it's all black, then it's fully defined. Another way is to look at the bottom. Here you have a note that says fully defined, which means your sketch is currently fully defined. Now let's go ahead and start sketching a circle. So we go to the circle command and click, go to the origin, do 1 click, move to the radius we want, and do another click. We only want 1 circle, so I'm going to press Escape on the keyboard. Now note that the parameter of the circle is blue, which means it's underdefined. So if I click on the parameter and start moving the mouse, the parameter will start moving as well. Also, note at the bottom it says underdefined, which means the sketch as a whole is still underdefined. So let's go ahead and start dimensioning the circle. We're going to follow the same procedure. Click on Smart Dimension, go to the canvas, click on the parameter of the circle, and you note that we currently are measuring the diameter of the circle. So we can just click, and then we want the parameter to be 16, so we're going to type 16 and click OK. Exit the Smart Sketch, and we have a fully dimensioned sketch. This sketch is getting crowded, so let's go ahead and delete it. We're going to exit Sketch, right click on the sketch on the design tree, click OK, click Yes. Now we're going to go ahead and try sketching and dimensioning an ellipse that looks like this. Note in the given sketch, both the major and minor axes are dimensioned in millimeters. So we have to first change the document to millimeters. So we go to the bottom and click on this menu, and then we're going to see that the second option from the bottom has a length dimension of millimeters. So we're going to click on that. Now let's go ahead and start sketching an ellipse. So let's go to the top line again and click Sketch. Go to the ellipse command, click on that, and then go to the center, do one click, determine the major axis, do one click, and now determine the minor axis and do another click. So now we'll go ahead and try dimensioning this ellipse. So we click on Smart Dimension and go back to the canvas. Note that the parameter of the ellipse do not have a noun regular shape like that of a circle, and so if we click in the parameter, we don't get anything. If we click again, we get a message saying a dimension could not be created from the selected items. However, in the parameters we notice there are 4 points. Whenever we see points, we can use those to determine a dimension between the 2 points. So let's go ahead and click in this point here, and then click on this point here, and then we get a dimension measurement. Now notice that if I move the mouse around, we get the dimension from different side or different view. So here, like this, we're determining the vertical distance between the 2 points. If we go like this, we are determining the horizontal distance between the 2 points. However, we were giving the major axis, and so we move the mouse until we get this dimension here, which represent the major axis. So we click again, and again we get the box. We type in 70 and click OK. We can do the same thing with the other points. So we click on this point and then do another click on this point, and then again we get different dimensions as we move the mouse. We want the minor axis, so we'll go like this, click, we get the box, we type in 25 and click again. And now we have the ellipse as we wanted. However, note that the ellipse is still underdefined. So if I exit the Smart Dimension and click and hold in this point and start moving, I can move the ellipse. I cannot change the major or minor axis because they were defined, but I can change the whole orientation of the ellipse. So we can do one more dimension to define or to fully define that ellipse. So if I go back to Smart Dimension, now keep in mind that the origin point is always fixed, and so I can always use the origin point to fix everything else with it. So if I click on the origin and then say I choose this point here, do another click, I can get different measurements. Now we were not giving this in the drawing, however we can guesstimate it. So I'm going to guesstimate this dimension here. I'm gonna say this could be 15 millimeters and then click OK. Now we have the ellipse fully defined. Let's try doing another dimension. So if I click on the origin again and then say I click on this point and say I want to change the dimension, this dimension, I click again, I get a warning message saying that this dimension would make the sketch over-defined. You have to be careful of this. You do not want to make your sketch over-defined. We get options. We can make this dimension driven, or we can leave this dimension driving. We can always select the first option. In this case, we will get the number here 12.5 as a just for information number. And you can notice that the color of this dimension is gray, which means it's just for information.